Energy is Eric Stridberg. Eric, good to see you.
Thank you, Andrew. Good to see you again too.
Good to have you back on here. You've had a release here on the activity in the Carnarvon Basin. Give us a bit of a summary, Eric, as to what's happening.
Well, there's a couple of things that we've signed off on. One is a farm out of part of our interest in our L20-1 petroleum application area. And the other is an alignment of our carbon capture and storage, our CCS activity in the Carnarvon Basin as well.
Give us a bit more detail, firstly, on the farm out, Eric.
Yeah, the farm out is for us to assign part of our interest to our joint venture partner, Mineral Resources or EnRes. We're currently 50-50 in the permit, and under the agreement, we'll assign 25% to EnRes, and so the equities will be 75-25, and in return for that additional equity, EnRes will carry us through the drilling of the first 2 wells in the permit. We'll also assign them the operatorship. We're currently the operator, but under the deal, they'll be assigned the operatorship after the permit's granted to us.
I suppose begs the question, Eric, why are you looking to farm out? Weren't you happy to be operator?
Well, we were, but things have moved on since we applied for the permit. The application was made in late 2020, and that was before we discovered our Raphael gas condensate field. And we really need to put all our attention on the appraisal and monetisation of that field. So this will allow us to completely focus on that. And also, EnRes have been building up their operating capability. At the time we made the application, they hadn't drilled their wells in the Perth Basin. They made a very substantial gas discovery at Lockyer Deep and built up their technical team. So we're very happy to hand over the operatorship to them at this point. So it's a real win-win for us, frankly.
When do you reckon you'll get the required permit and be on ground there?
Well, it's like all dealings with government. Things move slowly at times. So, as I said, we applied for the permit in late 2020. We were then offered it in March of 2021, and one of the requirements in Western Australia to be granted a permit is that you have to have an agreement with the native title parties whose country you're on. So that agreement, in our case, is with the Thalangi people. We were very pleased that they were able to sign an agreement with us. We've got a very good relationship with them, and we're looking forward to working with them. So now the Mines Department has to go through the process of actually granting us the permit. The operating window up there, we're in Cyclone Alley. So it's a bit like the canning. You have to get on ground during the dry season. So it'll be the dry season second quarter next year before we get on there and drill those wells, which we're very much looking forward to.
The second part of the deal is to do with CCS. You mentioned this right at the start, Eric. Remind us what CCS is.
Yeah, well, you might well ask. The oil and gas industry is full of acronyms. So CCS stands for carbon capture and storage. It really should be called carbon dioxide capture and storage, because that's what it's all about. Basically, to meet any of the climate targets that are out there, we're going to have to both reduce our emissions, and basically every industrial process that uses energy is responsible for carbon dioxide emissions. So they've got to be dealt with if we're going to reduce our emissions. But also, if we can actually deal with the carbon dioxide that comes off, that gets us a long way down the track as well. So CCS basically means that you capture the carbon dioxide at source, and then inject it back into the ground, into underground reservoirs. And it stays there. And in many cases, it's actually a sequestration process. It's absorbed into the rocks and turns back into carbonate minerals. So it's a very effective process. It's widely used worldwide. The issue is scale. It's going to have to be scaled up substantially. And that's where we've been working to try and look at how we could achieve scale on our projects.
Well, that's what I was going to say. What's Buru doing as far as CCS?
Yeah, well, we recognised this problem a couple of years ago, and we set up a subsidiary called Geovault. I was very proud of the name. Basically we've been building up our internal expertise, mainly the subsurface expertise, and we're just moving on to start building up our surface facility expertise. So we recognised that quite a while ago, and have been building up that capability. We also recognised that the government was keen to develop this technology. So there were some grants available. We applied for a grant, and in that round, Woodside, Mitsui, and ourselves were offered government grants, and ours was for $7 million on a matching basis.
When you say on a matching basis, does Buru have to provide the other $7 million?
That's correct. The whole project is a $14 million project, but under the deal that we've entered into with EnRes, they'll supply the matching $7 million. We'll supply the grant money, and we'll move forward on a project that we've basically agreed with government to look at the feasibility of establishing a CCS project on the L20-1 area. Now, as part of that, we'll be the operator for the feasibility study, but if we apply for and are granted a greenhouse gas storage permit or a CCS permit, EnRes will assume the operatorship, and the equity will be in the same proportion as the exploration area, so 75-25.
And of course, Eric, you've also got this rights issue running. How's that going?
Yeah, not bad. It's early days. We've got good support from our major shareholders so far. We basically needed to top up the balance sheet to make sure that we could really get after the Raphael appraisal and development. In the way of these things, most of the money comes in late in the day. It closes next Tuesday on the 31st, and we'd certainly encourage all our shareholders to send us their checks. That would be great.
Certainly plenty happening. Eric, always good to get an update. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Andrew. It's good to talk.